Hi everyone, my name is Herb Daly. Today I'm going to be talking about real estate contracts and clauses that you should be putting in every contract that you write up. Now I understand that in specific cases you're going to want to put in specific clauses for a particular deal, but I'm going to be talking about things that you can put in any contract that are going to protect you and give you a lot of flexibility. Another thing I want to talk about is that depending upon what state you're dealing in, you want to get familiar with the Greater Board of Realtors agreement and also the agreement that attorneys are familiar with, because if you're using your own contracts, which is fine, a lot of times though, even with for sale by owners that hire attorneys to do the paperwork, if they're not familiar with the contract, a lot of times it can create red flags. And sometimes they're wondering what's this guy up to that he's using his own contract. So not to worry, that's what addendums are for. I'm going to be talking about specific clauses that you can put in your contract, and so if you're not familiar with the state's contract, just tell them that the addendum is part of the contract. Okay, so the first clause that you want to put in any contract is an assignment clause. An assignment clause allows you to do one of three things. Number one, assign your interest to another investor if you're trying to wholesale it for a fee. Assign it to a retail buyer or an end user, so that would be a double closing, assuming that they're going to get their own financing and you basically make what's in the middle as a fee. Or number three, if you bring in a partner to help you close the deal if you want to buy it on your own. Okay, so the assignment clause a lot of times will be in the actual contract, like in the beginning. If it's not, all you have to do is that when you put your signature on the agreement, just put next to your signature "and" or "assigns." And that should take care of that, okay? Now, there are going to be times when, if you're dealing with banks and you're trying to buy real estate-owned properties, they may have an addendum that says no assignment. There are ways of getting around that. Just to let you know, I just can't get into them on this video because it would take me too long. But an assignment clause, for the most part, you can put in any contract. Number two is what I call an investor disclosure clause. And what that says is, it is expressly understood by all parties that the buyer, which is me, is a real estate investor, speculator, and buys and sells properties for himself and his clients for resale and for profit. So what this basically means is that if the seller tries to pull a fast one and tries to tries to put a lawsuit on me and says, well, he didn't tell me that he was out there to make all that money, and he didn't, I didn't understand fully why I sold the property, or, if he tries to do anything to undermine our deal, this way here, I disclosed up front that I was an investor and I was there to make a profit, so there's no hidden agendas, okay? Now, if the seller isn't cool with that, I just tell him fine. I walk away and I'm on to the next deal. Okay, so even when I talk to a for sale by owner the very first time, I will disclose to him that I'm an investor, and I'm going to be asking him questions that normally wouldn't be asked by somebody who is going to live in the property, because this allows me now to ask him questions about the financing and whatnot. And usually that just sets them up for me to ask them the type of questions that need to be asked. Okay, so again, you want to put that in writing in the contract. Okay. Number three is what I call a right to show clause. Now, if you're wholesaling properties, this is an important clause. Okay. Buyers shall have the right to show property to prospective tenants and buyers immediately upon execution of this agreement. So let's say you have a buyer for the property. He wants to see it in person. Now, if you're bringing people through the property, the seller's going to get a little ticked off saying, what's this guy trying to pull? Because, is he going to close on this property or not? What's going on here? Another thing I tell my sellers is that, Mr. Seller, if I don't buy the property, I will find somebody else who will. So again, I'm disclosing it up front so there are no hidden agendas, so the seller can't come back to me and say, well, you told me this, you told me that. Okay? Again, if he's not cool with that, I just walk away from the deal. Okay? So again, that's a right to show the property. You may want to take a digital camera with you also, so this way here you can take pictures of the outside and the inside, so when you're giving other investors all the info on the property, you can also email them pictures, so this way here it will eliminate a lot of the buyers having to see it for themselves. Okay? Another clause is contingent upon buyer making and accepting a final inspection of the property within 24 hours of closing. Now, what that means is this. If I go through the property a day before closing and I find something that I didn't expect, like a hole in the roof, or the heater blew, or the cesspool blew up or whatever, I have a right to kill the deal right there. Okay? Even if I decide, I don't want the deal for whatever reason, I can decide, again, not to take the deal. Okay? Now, a lot of attorneys and some sellers will balk at this, but like I tell people, if you don't ask, you don't receive. Okay? Now, another clause I use is that in some states, there's like a two-step process. Like in the state of Massachusetts, what you normally do is you make out an offer. Okay, it's an offer form, like a one-page offer form, and then from the offer form you go into what they call a purchase and sale agreement. Now, what I would put in that offer form is this. This offer is contingent upon a satisfactory purchase and sale agreement acceptable to buyer and buyer's attorney. So, if they bring out, a purchase and sale agreement that's not acceptable to me and don't have the clauses that I want in there, okay, again, I can walk away from the deal, no harm, no foul, okay, completely protected, okay. Now, there are going to be times when the seller is going to be able to take back financing or take back a note or what they call a purchase money mortgage, okay. Now, there's three things you want in every note. At least, there's more, but at least these three things. Number one is a right of first refusal. Now, let's say the seller gets into a cash bind and he wants to sell that note. Normally, they're not going to sell it at face value. They're going to sell it at a discount. You want to be able to buy that note so you can save money on the property, so you receive the discount. Okay? Number two is a prepayment discount. If you decide to pay the note off prior to the due date, you have a right to a 15 to a 20% discount. Again, that will save you money. Number three is a substitution of collateral clause, which allows you to take that note and move it from one property and secure it with another property. So let's say you have a property in an area that's appreciating and you want to refinance it and take some tax-free money out and put it in your pocket. Well, this frees you up to be able to do that as long as you can move it and secure it with another piece of property. So it gives you maximum leverage. Okay? Now, these are just some basic clauses that I've given you today that you can probably put in just about every contract that you ever write up. Okay? Now, the only thing left to do is to go out and make an offer. My phone number will be at the end of this video, so if any of you ever want to call me and go over it or whatever, feel free. Until then, again, go make an offer.